Welcome to the Daughter Arise channel. My name is Yvonne and this channel is all about bringing you content surrounding childhood sexual abuse. On this channel I share things from my experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly. I share things that I found hard, things that I found encouraging in hopes of empowering and encouraging other survivors. Also on this channel I share news stories and add my thoughts and commentary to them, and I also do interviews with other survivors and people who support them to raise awareness about this difficult issue. So if this is the type of content that you're looking for, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified of any new uploads. And if you like the content, then please hit the thumbs up button. So today's story comes from the Daily Mail, and this story was back in June 2021. I have quite a few stories that I'm yet to do videos on, so I'm still doing a bit of a catch up. But basically this story is about a father who murdered his daughter to silence her claims that he sexually abused her before him and his wife sent messages from her phone pretending to be her to divert the police. So a teenage photography student was murdered by her father to silence her claims that he sexually abused her, a court heard. Jurors were told both her parents then sent messages from her phone pretending to be her and saying she had run away to divert officers who were investigating her disappearance. Bernadette Walker, 17, was last seen alive on July 18 last year when her father, Scott Walker, collected her in the car from his parents' house in Peterborough, where she had stayed overnight, Cambridge Crown Court heard. Lisa Wilding QC, opening the prosecution case, said Bernadette's body had not been found. She said the girl's father and her 38-year-old mother, Sarah Walker, formed an unholy alliance in a 9-minute phone call on July the 18th to cover up her death. Her mother did not report her missing to the police until July the 21st. Miss Wilding said Bernadette, who wore glasses, had a habit of dyeing her hair in rainbow colours, was described by friends as something of a goth, with many of her friendships online. Miss Wilding said that on July the 16th, Bernadette told her mother that her father had been sexually abusing her over a number of years. Mother and daughter spoke about the allegation that night and into the following morning, said Miss Wilding. Sarah Walker told Bernadette that she did not believe her. The following day, it was decided that Bernadette should go and spend the night with her paternal grandparents while things calmed down a little. Bernadette's father dropped her at her grandparents' house on the evening of July the 17th, and he collected her the following morning, prosecutors say. Since the day she disappeared, she had not used or sought to access her phone or social media accounts. She had access to no money or banking and has not been seen at any hospital or other surgery, said Miss Wilding. No one who knew her or loved her has heard from her since that day. She is presumed dead, and as you come to hear, it is likely that her body was disposed of, probably in the countryside in the hours that followed her killing. The prosecution alleged that Scott Walker killed B to prevent her pursuing allegations of sexual abuse any further. He then enlisted the help of her mother, his wife, to cover his tracks and to provide them both to formulate the next part of their plan. In those hours and days in which they hid her disappearance from everyone and deliberately set a false trail, they achieved their goal. They diverted the investigation into her appearance and death for sufficiently long and sufficiently well that any hope of finding B's body disappeared with her. To this day, neither of them accepts that B is dead. Miss Wilding said that Scott Walker collected Bernadette from his parents' home between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. on July the 18th. When her grandparents said goodbye to Bernadette that morning, it was the last time they or anyone else other than Scott Walker saw her alive. At 11:23 on July the 18th, Scott Walker's telephone, which was regularly in use, was off. It remained off until 12:54, and the prosecution say that in that hour and a half he killed B. She said when his phone reconnected to the network at 12:54, the first call he made was to Sarah Walker, which lasted for more than 9 minutes. The story they concocted in that call, and which both relied on from that moment on, even until now, was that Scott had stopped the car on the short drive home to confront B about her allegations. That B jumped out of the car when he pulled over and she ran off. Then Scott tried and failed to run after her, and so returned home without her. From that moment on, Scott and Sarah Walker, B's own mother and father, were joined, the prosecution say, in an unholy alliance designed and intended to mislead, divert and pervert their inevitable investigation into the disappearance and untimely death of their daughter B. Walker. In the minutes, hours and days that followed, Scott and Sarah Walker hacked into B's social media accounts, sent false messages from her phone, which was still in their possession, pretending to be from her friends and family, and which were designed to lay a false trail to explain their subsequent failure to report her missing to the police. They lied to everyone around them about her disappearance, and they were unflinching in their pursuit of their devious, wicked plan. All parental love and responsibility was gone. Miss Wilding QC said Bernadette's parents selfishly and ruthlessly maintained their lying accounts, which were designed to protect only themselves. Both were arrested more than 6 weeks later. Scott Walker denies Bernadette's murder on or after July the 18th last year and 4 counts of perverting the course of justice. Sarah Walker denies 2 counts of perverting the course of justice. The trial continues. So as you heard from that story, extremely troubling, extremely sad what has happened to B. Walker. I can't imagine for her the turmoil, the stress, the sadness she must have felt in trying to share with her mother something that was extremely damaging to her, the sexual abuse she endured at the hands of her father. When I'm doing these stories, really I just summarise the article, but today I've actually just read the whole article because I just felt like summarising it wouldn't have done it any justice. Both of her parents are extremely wicked, and it is sad that she had to have parents like that. The fact that she tried to voice something that was so distressing and traumatising to her, only to have her mother sit there after being up through the hours of the night telling her what she had gone through, only for her to say she didn't believe her, and then concoct and be complicit in her death with her own father, is just beyond belief. I'm really at a loss for words. I don't know where these two thought they were going to get away with it, but obviously they haven't. And I don't feel a shred of sympathy for them. And I'm going to keep an eye on this trial because, it'd be interesting to see what sentence they get and how the prosecution, the defence, and also the jury take the information that has been given to them about this case. It must be devastating for her grandparents. It must be devastating for her friends to know that she has met her end in such a horrific and such a tragic way. And just again from this case, it just highlights the complicity of those who cover up sexual abuse. They are as bad as the person that does it. If you are someone who covers up the tracks of somebody who is suspected of child sexual abuse, you don't report it to the authorities, you plan to help the person cover up what they've done, you try and shame and blame the victim or threaten the victim to keep quiet, you are just as bad as that person who's doing the abuse, and you should be held accountable to the law. There is no excuse for it. But unfortunately, many of us who have gone through child sexual abuse, this is what we've had to deal with. We've had to deal with family members covering up our abuse, calling us liars, calling us drama queens, saying we're making it up for attention. All the time, the perpetrator gets away with it, goes undetected. All it does is leave them free to do it to someone else. And there is no way to get a message through to people who are complicit in covering up abuse other than to hold them accountable to the law. Because it's not as simple as, I don't really have to do anything and I'll keep it to myself. People who are complicit in covering up sexual abuse should also face charges. So RIPB, I'm sorry that this has had to happen to you, and I hope that you get the justice that you deserve.